I don't remember. This computer, what do we have on the screen? Like, what should I have pulled up during?
You just let it go. It's really just to have the applicant on camera. That's all it's for. So that when they're speaking, we have a camera. But the only one that has anything on the screen or is this with PowerPoint and then that for the hearing, which we don't. Even be honest. As long as the camera's working, it's fine. You look perplexed.
I'm still just trying to like, I don't know,
Let that be hammered you.
I guess. Um, is there like a full screen button? I drag this way. I made it worse. This button. We don't turn the mics on yet, right?
No, I checked.
Right, so I guess everything should be functional. The only thing I guess I can something wrong is start trying to street it. Wait, who has the key?
He's gonna do it. Once it stoplight, at least we're gonna go on. Good.
Did he already start it?
Check out YouTube.
Yes, we are.
Awesome.
Or did you stop it? Are we muted?
I'm not president.
Are we muted? Are we at least muted?
Tell me.
So we're good. It's streaming. Just we don't really start it till right before.
Yeah, well, it's not recording.
But it's live.
Yeah. That means so it's streaming, but not recording.
And recording when it goes through WebEx.
So what happens with the recording?
But the recording goes into the cloud from WebEx based on whoever's account side of the WebEx. So the audio file is then saved in the cloud, which you can then retrieve later if you need to remember.
So the YouTube stream is recording.
The YouTube stream is also recorded because it's on YouTube. So it's posted to YouTube. As far as I understand. Yeah, or live, so. Here.
Yeah, right.
They have the agendas.
Isn't there like a speaker?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay, I always sit up down.
It works for me.
All of it.
How you doing?
How's it going?
How are you?
Well, thank you.
Good. Oops. I can't believe there's only 4 cases.
I know.
We're thinking it's gonna be a quick one, but the fourth one,
The 4th one's contentious or something?
we got 35 others.
Oh, wow.
This morning. Oh,
Oh,
might be approved.
Good thing we got here early to get seats.
This year has been a really big change for me in terms of vision. So I'm wearing the reading glasses.
You're out first, right?
Yeah.
You're out first, Bill.
Lovely.
No.
If you go back to the mandate. And you,
Oh. Right? Very complicated. I guess it's still. So. Yeah. I'll take the phones and I'll just set it.
yeah, well, and you should.
Go back to deliver it.
So yeah, just say.
That's not provided.
So you can say it's just a little straight.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Shame, it's one lot of time.
And, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I did the same thing now forever. Go to those. This is great. It's one here. They're taking money. So you got the bigs. Yeah, they did. Third year. First day is just. That's. Or no, Sharon. House. It almost did. Even though you're growing and so.
These days, just around there. Freezer family.
Yeah.
Their Sudbury rooms. She has a nice view of it. Water. It's pretty clear too. It's okay. I don't really understand. Yeah, there's some time to be out. And they were protect. Prevent the. Big ice, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. Congratulations. Yeah.
That's your.
Yeah. That's exactly. It's awesome. Say, two girls, 2 months. Are you done? We'll see. I'm. Yeah. It's all good. It's fine. Yeah, because we had, when we get into our guys, I said, done. Done. Just come on, like, yeah. Yeah, it would have. It's their, yeah, so, yeah, okay, he's in the news. Yeah. I mean. Oh, yeah. I will say, my daughter.
He was like,
It's not, it's lovely. At first, he decided. It's the answer. But it's really challenging. Under she. We'll look at that, but maybe we'll have to do a challenge. We good to go with the tape? We're ready to start. Yeah. There's a bunch of.
yeah. Well, it's going on. Yeah.
Okay, I would like to call the 3/13/25 Development Commission meeting order. Pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Case number 1. Z24-062 4810 Alcar Road.
Please see your supplemental packets for updated included texts. Site consists of one undeveloped parcel and one parcel developed with a single unit dwelling, both in the R rural district. The requested LM limited manufacturing district will allow limited manufacturing and commercial uses as defined by sections 3363.01 through 3363.08 manufacturing district. The owners of the site are single unit dwellings in the LR2 limited residential districts. The south are single unit dwellings in the LRR limited rural residential district. To the east is a packaging warehouse in the LM2 limited manufacturing district. To the west is an undeveloped parcel in the M manufacturing district. The size within the planning boundaries of the Westland area plan, which recommends industrial/manufacturing land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes complete adoption of the Columbus citywide planning policies design guidelines. The site is located within the boundaries of the Westland Area Commission, whose recommendation is for approval. Limitation text includes use restrictions allowing less objectionable manufacturing and commercial uses and supplemental development standards addressing setbacks, building height, traffic access, loading, and building design. Additionally, the text includes commitments to develop the site in accordance with submitted site plan and building elevations. The Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies this portion of Alki Road as a suburban commuter corridor requiring 100 feet of right of way. The requested LM manufacturing district will allow limited manufacturing and commercial uses in accordance with the city's limitation text, site plan, and building elevations. Staff supports the proposed building elevations, and landscaping, and screening along the northern edge of the zoning site plan are consistent with C2P2 design guidelines. The Department of Public Service is coordinating in consideration of the recently adopted bike bus plan and Memphis initiatives to verify whether a sidewalk or shared use path would be most appropriate to be constructed along the Alki Road frontage of this site in conjunction. So therefore, the city's department's recommendation is for approval.
Okay, traffic issues.
The traffic access study has been approved for this application. No additional, turn lane or anything like that were identified as being necessary. We did determine that shared use path would be facilitated.
No further comments from planning?
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 1? Alki Road. No.
David Hodge, attorney for the applicant, and I'm going to say this to the Development Commission just because last month's meeting was so rough on me. In this case, we started this process actually proposing multifamily residential, reached out to planning and economic development. They said, no, thank you. This is industrial is the land use, and that's been the land use recommendation in the Westland area plan since I think 1994. So we came forward with an industrial proposal on the property, went to the Westland Area Commission, had some neighbor participation at that commission meeting. So we tabled, went out in an evening, had some direct discussion with the neighbor at a Bob Evans. That neighbor came around with a 180 and is now in support of the proposal. We agreed to provide some funding for some landscaping on their property to buffer them from this use across the street. So I know I didn't need to do all that, but I want some of the members of the Development Commission, those of you who don't know that I always work very hard with area commissions and with neighbors to bring proposals to Development Commission with approvals across the board with satisfied neighbors. And my goal is ultimately to get it to council with the same. And so with that, I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is a use that has been on this property since '94, and the city ain't gonna see it any other way. We tried.
Well, you were, I think, 6'6" that time we walked in here. Isn't quite that long.
Right.
I think you've done a good job of collaborating with the neighborhood and satisfy everybody, or maybe. So I think with no further ado, we need a motion to approve the 3625 text. That's the.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what's it? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, need the clerk to call a roll? All those in favor? Okay, please call the roll. Vote.
Denise T. Chamberlain. Yes. John Anderson.
You missed this one.
Anna Quinn.
Yes.
David Carey. Yes. Jerry Patrick.
Yes, you're approved.
Thank you all.
Okay. Case number 2. V24-071, 2512 Jackson Place.
The site consists of a portion of one parcel developed in the EQ excavation quarry district. The requested and manufacturing district will allow the production of renewable gas. To the north of the site is a solid waste facility in the M manufacturing district. To the south is a limestone quarry in the M manufacturing district. To the east is an undeveloped parcel in the M manufacturing district. To the west is a quarry in the EQ excavation and quarrying district. Concurrent CV 24-160 has been filed for very required landscaping and screening and improved service requirements. The request will be heard by City Council, which will not be considered at this development commission meeting. Size within the planning boundaries of the Southwest Area Plan, which recommends industrial and open space stream buffer land uses at this location. Additionally, the plan includes complete adoption of the Columbus Citywide Planning Policies Design Guidelines. Sites are located within the boundaries of the Southwest Area Commission, which recommendations for approval. Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies this portion of East Hudson Street as a suburban commuter corridor requiring 120 feet of driveway. The requested M manufacturing district will allow the production of renewable gas. Staff supports the request as it is consistent with both the Southwest Area Plan and C2P2 recommended industrial land uses for this location. Additionally, the request is compatible with the existing zoning pattern of the area. Therefore, City Department's recommendation is for.
Okay, questions? Daniel? Traffic.
No traffic issues.
Chris?
No further comments from planning.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 2 on Jackson Brookings? No, give your name for the record and tell us anything else you have.
Sure, thank you. Rebecca Mott with the Plank Law Firm with an office address of 411 East Town Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215. And
Craig Pleshy from Suburban Propane, representing the ownership.
Okay, we achieve staff approval and, got all your eggs in the road, no one's here to object. Is there anything else you'd like to add? That presentation?
no, the staff report was well done, so we're just here to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I don't see any questions coming in here, so I need a motion to vote. Okay, all those in favor? All right, please go.
John Haverson.
Yes.
Ken Ridley.
Yes.
David Carey.
Yes.
James P. Franklin. Jared Patrick.
Yes, you approve.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, case number 3, Z23-066, 2622 through 2624, Johnstown Road.
8.77 acre site consists of one parcel developed with warehouse in the Park Rural District. The applicant requests the M2 manufacturing district to allow existing manufacturing use at this location. Site is also located in the boundaries of the I-670 traffic control override. The north and east of the site is right of way for Interstate I-70, I-670. To the south and east are manufacturing uses in the M2 manufacturing district. To the west is a warehouse in the LT4 Limited Commercial District. The site is within the planning boundaries of the East Columbus Neighborhood Plan, which recommends light industrial land uses at this location. The site is located within the boundaries of the East Columbus Civic Association. Its recommendation is for approval. Concurrent council variance CD 24-071 has been filed and includes variances for building setbacks, parking setbacks, and landscaping and screening. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered this development commission meeting. The requested M2 manufacturing district will allow the existing manufacturing use at this location. Staff are supportive as the proposed use is consistent with the East Columbus Neighborhood Plan's recommendation. Light industrial land uses at this site. It is consistent with the zoning and development pattern in the surrounding area. Therefore, city staff recommendations for approval and happy to answer any questions.
Okay, very good. Questions? Okay. Dan, traffic issues?
No traffic issues.
And Chris?
No further comments from planning.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding case number 3, Johnstown Road? No. Okay, you've got staff approval. And approval. No one's here to oppose you. Give us your name. You have anything else to say? Now's the time.
Yes, sir. Christian Gellikin. I'm the attorney for the applicant. I'm at the law firm of Bailey Cavallari, 10 West Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio, 43215.
Seth Rao with Ross Restoration.
There are no questions, nobody here to oppose you, and you've got approvals,
We're just happy to answer any questions that you might have.
questions, so I think it's time to call for the vote. Yes. All those in favor? Please call the roll.
Ken Quinn,
Yes.
David Terry,
Yes.
Denise P. Shanklin,
Yeah.
John Englishman, Jared Patrick.
Yes, you are approved.
Thank you.
Okay, that takes us to case number 4. Z24-052. 2575 West Dublin Granville Road.
Right here. Please see your supplemental packet for the Northwest Civic Association's recommendation, updated limitation text, a turn lane exhibit, and 37 letters of opposition. The 27.27 acre site consists of part of one undeveloped parcel in the M2 manufacturing district. The applicant requests the LAR1 and LAR12 limited apartment residential districts, distinguished in 2 sub-areas, Area West and Area East, to allow a multi-unit residential development. To the north is a religious facility and single-unit dwellings in Terry Township in the R1 restricted suburban residential district. To the east are a veterinary office, a law office, and an auto body shop in the LC4 limited commercial district. To the south is undeveloped land in the M2 manufacturing district. To the west is an auto parts retail use in the M2 manufacturing district. Concurrent CV 24-124 has been filed and includes variances to building lines, perimeter yards, and private streets. That request will be heard by City Council and will not be considered at this Development Commission meeting. The site is located within the planning area of the Northwest Plan, which recommends institutional land uses at this location, but supports residential uses as the replacement for institutional uses. The site is located within the boundaries of the Northwest Civic Association, whose recommendation had not been received when this report was written. The limitation text includes use restrictions, a maximum of 336 dwelling units for the LAR1 and a maximum of 138 dwelling units for the LAR12 area, and includes supplemental development standards addressing building and parking, setbacks, perimeter yards, traffic access, private streets, driveways, street trees, building materials, and lighting. Additionally, the text includes a commitment to develop the site in accordance with the submitted site plan. The Columbus Multimodal Thoroughfare Plan identifies this portion of West Dublin Granville Road as a suburban commuter corridor requiring 120 feet of right-of-way. The requested LAR1 limited apartment residential district and LAR12 limited apartment residential district will allow multi-unit residential development consisting of 336 dwelling units in area east and 138 dwelling units in area west, as demonstrated by the submitted site plan. While the Northwest Plan recommends institutional land uses at this location, the plan does include language that supports the replacement of institutional uses with residential uses. The submitted site plan is also consistent with the plan's design guidelines with regard to landscaping and bike parking. At the time the staff report was finalized, the traffic impact study was still under review. Additional commitments or access revisions may be necessary based on the results of the approved traffic impact study. Upon the resolution of any traffic concerns and with approval of the pending traffic impact study by the Ohio Department of Transportation. City department's recommendation can be for full approval, and the city department's recommendation is for conditional approval.
Okay, thank you. And you have not heard anything from Northwest Civic Association?
We since received their recommendation and it was for approval. They had conditions. And that was provided in your supplemental.
Okay. Is that in the March 13th text, the revised text?
That was what Tim had just texted out right before the meeting.
Okay.
It was a last minute addition.
Yeah, I have a copy of that if you need it.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a second. Glance at it. All right, let's get into traffic. As you see it now, Dan, what's the traffic situation?
Access to the site is under the jurisdiction of the Ohio Department of Transportation. The traffic impact study is still pending review by the Ohio Department of Transportation. They have jurisdiction over the site access as well as all city intersections. So ultimately, they'll have control over the necessary improvements once they do, complete their review, and once we, reach and approve traffic impact study, then it's associated with that approval. Incorporated into the limitation tax.
Okay, Chris?
Planning is no further comments.
Okay, is anyone here to speak regarding this case tonight? Two people. It's two. Okay, David, introduce your folks for the record and tell us anything that's on your mind before the speakers come up.
Okay, great. I'm Dave Perry, here as agent for the NRP Group and MI Homes. With me, guys, let me ask you to introduce yourselves.
Nick Brady with Kimley Horn, performed a traffic study.
Josh Barkin with MI Homes. I run our land department, among other things, here in Central Ohio.
Yep.
Okay, Dave?
So the May 13th text is the current text. I anticipate there will be editing with completion of the TIS, applicable traffic provisions added, traffic obligations. There, the TIS presently projects substantial McVeigh Boulevard and Dublin Granville intersection improvements, signalization, turn lanes, crosswalks, decel lanes for site access and so on. But it's just not done yet. This was discussed with Daniel, and the reply was that they're comfortable with the zoning proceeding. We understand without question, it doesn't go beyond today and until the traffic study has been completed. And then there'll be a period, a few days or a week or two, where I'm working with Daniel on what language goes in the ordinance. And we understand that completely on the timing. So we, with the March 13th text, I've added, I've corrected a format item that Alyssa asked me to correct. I've added pavement striping commitments for both MI Homes and NRP, and this is private streets on site. There was a request of Northwest Civic, and it came up with traffic management also about striping where pedestrian crossings will be on the private streets and so on. And so that is committed to in the text. The engineer at Kimley Horn, the civil engineer at Kimley Horn that has this project has been on vacation. I just couldn't turn the site plan in that amount this week, but it's been added to the text and committed to. I prepared the MI site as under the townhome for sale provisions of the AR 12 district. And there was a question about, does that mean it will be platted? And it does. That section of the zoning code requires that it be platted. Each townhouse will be on its own lot. They will be individually owned. And then the grounds will be in an association and common grounds maintenance and so on. So that, and then
The variance list is the same, but you're not hearing that. So we're at the, we're at the TIS, and both companies are anxious to proceed. We anticipate that finishing up shortly, but it just wasn't done when this was completed. There's been Nick Brady is in charge of the traffic impact study, can answer any questions if there are specific questions about that or the status, or Daniel. We met with Northwest Civic on March 5th and received a vote of approval. Monica Tuttle and I have had various email going back and forth about commitments that I've addressed in the March 13th text, and we will continue to talk about lighting. And it's not that there's any big controversy, but it's just going to be getting some words in the text about lighting.
All right, let me ask you a question about the traffic signal situation, because that's a huge item.
It is.
The way this is thinking, it's headed now, that four-way traffic signal with multiple lanes.
Right.
And you've got 161 spending, how many total work of this project go forward? How far is that widening have to go? Strength and change is worthless unless it doesn't have any kinks.
So right now, with the state of the traffic studies, and they're showing that a proposed widening to the east would connect to the existing 3-lane section. And then the widening to the west would be enough for what the study calls out for the eastbound left turn lane from 161 to phase 1.
And coming east, your west is phase, what are you traffic on coming up to that intersection? 2 lanes, 3 lanes?
Your approach would be 2 lanes, and then the turn develops as you approach the
Yeah, so they're tapering. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, let's hear our speakers, and let's get any comments. Let's hear our speakers, then we'll bring it back.
Stand up.
Who would like to go first?
Good afternoon. Monica Tuttle with Northwest Civic. First off, I want to say we've worked with applicant extensively. We're very pleased that they've been open to dialoguing back and forth with us. Part of what we wanted to memorialize in our recommendation is the concerns that have been raised by the neighbors. And also, given the fact that the TIS has not been completed, our understanding at this point is that these roadway improvements that are actually, I don't know if you're able to zoom in on that. I know it's a hard thing to see, but that right where the cursor is the right in, right out. And then there's the striping in the middle, and then there are the turn lanes and the signalized intersection. That is the main concern that the neighbors have raised, is this increased traffic. So if you can go a little bit farther east, I think that might be helpful, but that's a great, yeah. So that's McVeigh right there.
The new access is across from McVeigh.
Correct. And there is this right in and right out farther to the west that's in this dark, and it'll have the elevated pavement. The main concern that Perry Township residents have raised, which obviously are not Columbus, is the increased traffic on McVeigh. And they have raised concerns that most of the individuals leaving this new development will travel north on McVeigh rather than going east or west on 161. Obviously, the developer can't do anything about that, but this is a major concern, and obviously increased traffic on 161. So at this time, based on the presentation that has been made to us, we are in support. But obviously, were anything to be modified subject to the TIS or any additional discussions, that approval might not be applicable anymore. And so that's mostly what we wanted to memorialize. We're very excited about for sale property available in our area. This is the first multifamily development offered for sale in decades, in a very long time in our part of town.
See, I'm sitting in, it's like almost unprecedented.
Yes, so.
That word density doesn't show up in any of this.
Well, we are happy to bring density to Northwest Columbus, so spread the word. We we are very excited. We're really pleased to work with Mr. Perry. MI Homes and NRG have been really great to work with. Our big concern is the traffic impact. And then we're very environmentally aware. We still see stars in our part of town. And so we are constantly pushing forward on lighting. We would put forward that Kelvin should be a metric that is introduced into more zonings and into more variances, because although code enforcement is not measuring it at present, I do think that that is a very important metric. The lower the Kelvin, the better it is for humans, for animals, for just across the board.
Not just says bug off lands and.
Right, right. So, yes, so most of the language that's in there is saying, yes, we're on board with what they told us, and this is what they told us, so.
Well, years ago, there was going to be a commercial zoning where the district was across the church.
Mhm.
And that was a big clash that went on in 3 or 4 areas. And finally, they just put apartments in there and slowed down, but
Mhm.
it rarely folks again.
Yes.
So the major solve here is this long extent of widening 161 to diffuse the traffic away from McVeigh and the other roads.
Correct.
And give people to stack up, a place to stack up, but then trying to.
And ODOT has not made the improvements that everyone agrees are needed. And we see this as an opportunity to take advantage of that, which is why we are very excited to hear what the outcome. These proposals, we're excited about it.
We
So,
have a clause in our actions.
so.
Blank check.
And we feel confident that Mr. Perry will keep us looped in on any modifications that would happen. I'm happy to answer any questions, if there are any.
Thank you for your input.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time. I'm just a humble resident of Brookside. I live, sorry. My name is Patrick Demary. I live in Brookside. So if you take McVeigh and you go down the dip and there's a court, that is Brookbend Drive. That's actually Columbus. So I get Columbus trash, Columbus PD. I pay Columbus taxes. Have been since age 97. Before that, I was in Columbus. I have a company in Columbus. My family's been in Columbus, paid Columbus taxes for decades. This looks very nice. We've always needed a light there because it is super dangerous. Has been, and now with more people, more traffic, the big apartment complex, it is hairy. I can't even get my 19-year-old daughter to really want to drive because it is so treacherous to come out of there. So that's a good idea. Expand it all. But our concern, and I think the young lady mentioned it, is that people are going to try to cut through the neighborhood. And they do already. And they really, I mean, it's crazy what they do. They do not pay attention to the stop signs. Perry Township does the best that they can, but it's, unless there's something that we can do to mitigate that, it's only going to cause an accident or a death. There are no sidewalks in Brookside. There are lots of families, lots of little ones, lots of families pushing strollers on the street because there's no sidewalks. So this is a real concern. I'm not one to halt progress, and this looks like a good deal. It sounds like, I didn't know it, that they're going to be owned, not rented. I hope that is a strong clause that helps my property value dramatically. But all my neighbors, I'm sure, and my kids are grown, but there's a lot of young families in there. And that is a big concern. And that's why I'm here today.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Leave Sawmill Road on Plan B, go up parallel with 270.
Yep.
And I never realized.
That's Plan B.
McVeigh really was until I encountered it in crossing. So it's a fabric of activity, and it is going to get more and more used. but this is a good start. And I think it's well thought out right now. So David, are you putting any sidewalks in with this?
For sure, on the frontage of this development,
the neighbor?
would have a sidewalk. Let me address a couple things. We have two national level companies coming to the table here to build this project. And there's been, there's been how many trees, that kind of stuff, but most of the discussion about this project has been traffic. And ODOT has been talking about widening 161 from 315 to Sawmill for 30 years. And nobody's denying that traffic is heavy on West Dublin Granville, but what starts to change that is large, well-funded projects like this. MI and NRP will spend millions on road work.
Yeah.
We anticipate a commitment in the TIS. I don't think it's been quantified. That's one thing that Daniel and ODOT now have to get to a quantification, but we anticipate ODOT requiring a contribution to the railroad crossing in Linworth because everybody's scratching their head about what to do about the railroad crossing in Linworth. And that alone will be millions, like the Hard Road Railroad crossing was. But most of the discussion about this project has been traffic. And it's not, maybe it happens, but it's not likely to me that ODOT's just going to announce a $150 million road project that we're going to do everything from 315 to Sawmill Road tomorrow. It's going to happen in pieces.
They're going 39 miles an hour,
Yeah.
save our children. We'll make everyone get going.
Well, so.
Okay, and for the visitors here, we have kind of a history of having to face these projects where they come through, but they've all been worked out. But ODOT and other different county and other bureaucratic entities slow down the process of the traffic approvals. Too many cooks in that kitchen. But so as to not take a good project and sidetrack it. We have taken a stance that if the use is appropriate and things are working in the direction of being well solved, we will grant an opinion in our vote as to whether this is an appropriate presentation or not appropriate. That's as far as we take it. But there is a condition. If there's a hiccup, if there's a confrontation and a disagreement between the traffic approach and the applicant, then the applicant has to come back and we hear it again. So that's why we call it a blank check. You're negotiating right after you handed the check to the traffic department. You pretty much always have to put the traffic light in the pork shop, in, out, right in, right out.
Right.
And as long as everybody understands that, we feel it's worthwhile to put it ahead and make a determination as to whether we deem it appropriate. Yes.
Mr. Moorhead, is there any contemplation that a signal would not be required? Obviously, I'm not asking you to look into your crystal ball, but I'm just.
Sure. So, right now, the traffic study, it goes through the processes that ODOT would needs for meeting a threshold for a traffic signal. They're showing that that warrant is met. And so, provided that ODOT agrees with that, then, they're going to make them install a signal. If for whatever reason they find something otherwise, then, that'll be a big discussion. Because, they recognize that without a signal, that operations at that intersection have very high delays, to put it one way. But, right now, provided there's no, major error or, something that, it's not been contemplated so far, it looks like that, maybe be likely to accept the signal recognition.
I think the traffic light is essential myself.
And that's what we want to make sure that if if they were to come back and say no,
Well, I also think it's essential for in my home to invest in this development. With all the things they're doing, they don't want their customers having to sit there, watch traffic go by longer than a minute and a half before it's their time.
17 minutes.
It helps everyone.
Thank you.
Keeping that section safe is very, very. Any other comments or questions? Yes.
It is state of Ohio, but it's OSU property. I'm not really answering that question, but it's listed on the auditor as a state of Ohio.
It's where Don's got it.
Yeah, Don Scott. This is the Ohio State University, on behalf of Don Scott, did a master plan for Don Scott. I think it was 2019, 2020. And OSU has elected to sell what they now consider excess land based on their master planning. So the property owner on the application is state of Ohio. It was signed by an executive with the Ohio State University.
Okay, I think unless there's any other questions or comments, we need to have a motion to accept the March 13th, 2025 text. Okay, that's your 19th. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, let's vote, another voice vote. Vote. So. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, please call the roll.
David Carey? Yes. Denise P. Chamberlain? Yeah. John Ingwerson?
Yeah.
Gary LaBrue?
Yes.
Jared Patrick?
Yes. You are.
Great, thank you. Now we got some TIS to wrap up to do.
Add the turn exhibit as well.
Pardon me?
It's too late. Oh, sorry, never mind.
Evening.
Always the power of the blank check.
It's not.
Yeah.
Obviously.